So water seeks its level, covers the face of the stationary Earth. Lighthouses are one of the clues. We can see them way further away than we would be able to if we lived on a globe. "8 inches per mile squared cannot be found." Earthcurvature.com, you can check that out. The sun, moon, stars, wind, people, planes, trains, automobiles all move above the stationary Earth. The x-axis is the horizon. There's no curvature on the horizon. It's horizontal. This is a sea level liquid mirror. It looks like the building is slanted. Well, the reflection of it is. That's because the surface of the beach is sloped slightly, which is an important fact of life here, or else we'd be all underwater. This is the beach renourishment equipment here, assembled for adding more elevation to the area, the beach. That's the Myrtle Beach skyline. This is the tidal activity and the sun appearing and vanishing activity as well. I've seen the tide a couple of feet taller, and then I've seen storm surge much taller, flooded over the roadway. So as the water seeks level, it'll level out the sand quite a bit, and then there will be tidal pools and hydrodynamics that create texture in that of the beach surface. We're expecting about 20 million guests here this year to bring their families. Looks like some of the turtle rescue people possibly, or just guests enjoying the beauty of this. Yep, there's the turtle rescuing group. So we've got water towers all around here. They pump the water up with electricity, typically, and then the water seeks its level. Just open up a faucet and the water comes out. The weight of the water pushes it out, pressurizes it. Water cleanses the world. We've got evaporation, condensation, and precipitation in all its forms. This water goes into the earth and is pumped out once again by electricity, typically. Water like water like this around the earth will evaporate, condense, and precipitate, sometimes in the mountain elevations, and then it'll have a delayed release, mountain streams and all of that. We live in a fabulous creation. Water covers the face of the earth. The continents rise out of the water. The earth is mostly flat. We do have mountains over 5.5 miles tall. It's definitely not a globe, and we definitely don't have turtle rescue people on the bottom of the earth walking upside down. Not even. So the globe exists only in the imagination of those that are deceived. Even the deceivers that know we're not on a globe, that are deceiving, they're giving a false reality, could be demon-possessed people or just deceived people. God gave me a love for the truth, no matter where it leads. Actually, the truth leads to Him. He determined what the truth is. Jesus, as much of humanity knows Him, is also known as the living Word, the living water, the great I Am, the Alpha and Omega. Has many names and titles. He's all-knowing, all-powerful, all-present. I'm especially grateful to be one of His children, and that's why I do this, because I was actually created to do this. Now we've got the reflection on the bulldozer. Now we don't. Now it's back again. There's a false narrative as well that includes the supposed transmission of data through what we're told as satellites and satellite imagery. You can research the satellite hoax if you want to. We have high altitude videography, photography, Google Earth. There's dirigibles, balloons that have what are called satellite technology on them. There aren't geosynchronous satellites whirling around a spinning ball. That's all a lie. Thought up in the science fiction that's being projected as a reality to humanity. I'm exposing that. You're looking at the pipeline, which will be activated with diesel pumps that will pump a stream of sand and water up on the beach, and then they'll move it around with the diesel electric bulldozers, much like a locomotive power plant. There's talk of artificial intelligence, and artificial intelligence can actually shut down the power grid wherever, whenever, for however long God allows that to happen. An interruption in power supply would be fatal to much of humanity. I know we didn't have electricity a long time ago, but we had developed a lifestyle that could live with that. Now we've had a lot of changes in how we do things. Electricity to provide climate control and food storage and distribution of food and fuel and health care and all kinds of life support systems that are dependent on electricity. I say that because some of the talk of transhumanism and showing robots emphasizes how robots are actually, you know, could be helpful to us. We use artificial intelligence. However, there's a more sinister aspect and application of it. And the distribution of false information and the creation of digital imagery that's science fiction, like NASA generates and all of that. There are created events with green screens and film studios or recording studios, and that technology that's giving a false reality to humanity. That's the team with Great Lakes Dock and Dredge showing up to get going on the beach renourishment process today. We had Hurricane Matthew interrupted the power supply here for a while, and the generators at the Walmart failed, and they lost over $100,000 of food inventory. If North America lost the power for a week in the winter with the extreme cold, we would have lost millions of people. The weather is being modified with technology as well, geoengineering. Some call it chemtrails. I prefer geoengineering. It's patented, it's occurring, and it's not a conspiracy theory, it's a reality of the world that we live in. So I make an effort to put healthy nutrients in and on my body. That's very important. With that, I'm including the information. I want the truth. Hey there. I don't always have that effect on dogs. Hey there. So what I was going to say about the nutrients, I have a food processor called a Ninja that I go ahead and put a high-powered nutrients in. Spinach, kale, chia seed, hemp hearts, apple cider vinegar, mixed berries, bananas, broccoli, fruit juices, organic, apple and grape juice, applesauce. I'll bathe in highly purified carbon filtered reverse osmosis drinking water. I store it up in 5-gallon polycarbonate jugs. Got a system, it's only a couple $100 to create that water. Heat it up in stainless on the stove. It was my workaround. How can I take a better care of my body? And then I'll put a quarter cup of coconut oil in to keep my skin protected from the sun and the salt and all of that, from drying out. And then the data that I consume. I enjoy listening to and meditating on God's Word throughout the day and the nighttime as well. When I'm sleeping or almost sleeping, I have an opportunity to hear God's Word as I'm doing that. And He'll take me to places in my dreams that I could never travel to because I've actually been at the crucifixion during the crucifixion. And one of the individuals carrying it out, knowing that it needed to happen, that it was a part of the salvation plan. It was the salvation plan. So now it's not I who lives any longer, it's Christ who lives through me. The me that I was has perished, has gone away, can never come back. And I'm grateful for that. I'm set free from a life of addiction, and I talk about it, as well as pharmaceutical drugs, legal and illegal, alcohol and drugs. I know alcohol's legal. I was driving drunk a lot. Had some accidents a long time ago. I'm not the guy that I was, so I'm no longer a drug addict or an alcoholic or bipolar, mentally defective. None of that. Some may disagree with that. Oh well. People can believe whatever they want. I just love the truth, and I'll keep on exposing that truth and reality to humanity. So now, from this angle, I can see the light shooting across the beach. If I drop it down, should be able to see that. I know when I started coming on out here and would take a lot of pictures of the beauty and majesty of this, it's been very interactive with people. The opportunity that I have, because they'll come up to me and want to know what I'm doing, especially wearing the YouTube shirt. Now, I started out sharing the Bible.com and Bible.is. I still share it. It's just that many people would have an idea of what the Bible was and what God was about. And unfortunately, a lot of representatives of false religions walked on the stage before me. A lot of snake oil salesmen, cult leaders. I wouldn't drink the Kool-Aid. It's made with tap water. They're poisoning the water with fluoride, other chemicals. I wouldn't sit in a hot tub with a bunch of people on a smorgasbord of pharmaceuticals that are coming out through their skin and would be going into mine if I were in there. So the emphasis for me is largely to put healthy nutrients in and on my body, and to add to that to reduce the exposure to toxic inputs. So I also have a lot of plants in the house, and you know, like over 25 pothos plants that are growing vigorously. I'm able to use my bath water that has some magnesium sulfate in it. There's one of the tennis balls I talk about. Water doesn't stick to a spinning ball, a tennis ball, or a globe. Only in the imagination is where that globe exists. The other thing I'll do is, for the house, is I'll open up the windows when the air is really good outside, high quality, a lot of oxygen in it. I can smell it, I can feel it, feels good. I'll open up the windows. I'll use my steel lithium battery powered blower to move air around in the house, under the furniture and that when the windows are open. I like to vacuum when I open up the windows and let all the fresh air through the house. And then I'll typically close it back up to keep the moisture level appropriate for the house. It's a climate controlled house. I like that. I just want it to be fresh air, clean air. Oxygen's a big deal. I spend most of my waking hours outside, by far. I'll have a window cracked open in my bedroom, and I've got a little vent that pulls air out of the house as well, so fresh air comes in a little bit. And in the laundry room where the litter boxes are, the air leaves the house. And we use pine pellets for our cat litter, which is a big deal because the scoopable clumping cat litter clogs up the human and cat lungs. Not healthy. I cover some of this stuff. I wanted to put quite a bit of it in this particular video so that you would be aware of what are some healthier choices that you can make. I wouldn't drink tap water unless I had to. I typically won't shower anymore with or bathe with tap water unless I had to. I would just towel off with purified water. There's when I bathe in that highly purified carbon filtered reverse osmosis water, it absorbs in through the skin and replaces water that does not need to pass through the liver, does not need to pass through the bladder. It just passes through the skin. I've got a digital scale outside my bathtub, and my weight may vary over 7 pounds. I can have a weight gain or loss of that amount. That's a little, sometimes it's as much as a gallon of water. By the way, do you know how much a gallon of water weighs? Well, that depends. It depends on the temperature. That temperature variant changes the volume and density of a given portion of water, which drives the hydrologic cycle of the world, the evaporation, condensation, and precipitation, irrigating mountains with snow and snow melt. When the ice forms over bodies of water, it keeps a lot of it from evaporating. I've driven on Lake Winnebago in Wisconsin. I've seen trucks and snow plows out there. I've driven a truck out there. Used to snowmobile. When water changes the state into ice, the volume changes. It decreases the density. That's why it floats. So on my way in this morning, I could see quite a bit of fog. It was beautiful. Just fog over low-lying areas, ponds and that. And it was so calm, that's one of the reasons why it was right over the top of the ponds, because there was virtually no air movement at that time, at that location. So the reality of the stationary Earth is evident in the creation. By the way, we'll have no air movement in some locations and quite a bit of air movement in yet other locations. There's no accounting for any supposed rotation of the globe for air travel. There's no compensation for any curvature in the air travel because there is none. We've got elevation that planes need to go over, like mountains and that. Imagine if the AI corrupts the data for an in-flight, you could have a plane crash into a mountain. About that, we've heard about it. Would the AI crash a whole plane to eliminate a person? Absolutely. I'm sure it's happened. So seeing is believing. What do we see and what do we believe about it? Look right in front of you in the view. See how the light beam is continuous? And then watch, there's a little elevation that's visible because of the break in that reflection. We can see, like the sun, we can see a reflection of the sun, and then up in the middle there's a hump. It's like a laser level over the face of the earth. I'm not unscientific, I'm very scientific. I just prefer the truth about the situation. The reason why this matters is because the truth matters. And I thought I was born again a long time ago, humanly speaking, like over half my life ago, over 30 years ago, until I actually was roughly 4.5 years ago on Reformation Day. The reason why this matters is, hey, I thought I was born again. I said the sinner's prayer a bunch of times and was dedicated and rededicated my life, and I struggled with addiction. So as water reflects a man's face, God's word reflects the man. I would look in the mirror and wonder, why in the world am I struggling so much with sinful behavior that I was supposed to be set free from? Well, quite simply, I just hadn't been born again yet. That's all. So if somebody is living an unbiblical lifestyle and they're praising Jesus, they're probably not born again yet. That's what I would think. And I'm sending that message out to everybody. I'm not camping out in front of a particular group of Christians or people gathering at a church. I'll go out to the beach and talk to people from all over the world, from all different denominations and spiritual beliefs, gender beliefs. I know there's men and women and not undecided. You can't be whatever gender you want to be. God determined all that. So there's the truth, and then there's the everything else. How will you recognize the truth when it's standing right in front of you? That's what I asked Logan Paul. He was wearing one of my truth stickers on his forehead. So people reflect on their past, present, future on the beach. It's a beautiful thing. Good morning.
How are you?
Oh, doing great. Where are y'all from?
We're from Ohio.
Oh, welcome.
Thank you.
Yeah, we moved from Wisconsin about